What's up, you guys? This is Rob from Guy Plays, and today on the Snapshot, we're doing it doggy style when we take a look at the Wolf Sledge. And just as a little FYI, this did get buffed recently, so I want you to pretend like you haven't seen like the 50 other Wolf Sledge videos that are floating around out there. It's new, it's improved, we're fresh, and we're starting now. So the Wolf Sledge is a bit more difficult to pick up than the standard weapon, as all of its parts drop off of the Wolf of Saturn VI. Now, for those of you guys who have absolutely no clue who the Wolf is, he is an assassin-style enemy that is spawning throughout this season of Nightwave. As the Nightwaves progress, he will spawn more and more often, but if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen to him after this Nightwave season is over, whether he's going to continue spawning or whether his drops are going to be relocated somewhere else. So I'll go ahead and leave a link down in the description box below so that you guys can follow up on that if this season ends before you get all of the parts. Now, from him, you will need 4 items: the head, the handle, the motor, as well as the blueprint. And in order to close out your build, you will need a splash of Nitane to finish it off. Do be aware that it does require Mastery Rank 7 to craft. Now, for all of you guys who don't want to deal with any of that, unfortunately this is not available for purchase in the market. However, its parts are all tradable, so you can go ahead and hit up trade chat. Go ahead and jump into the depths of that abyss in order to get your construction on. But you know what? Sometimes you don't got the time, but you do have the money. Alrighty, so we're going to kick things off with the stats, then we'll jump into what they buffed in update 24.6.0. As you can see here, it's got a pretty standard attack speed of 1.0. It's got a critical chance of 17%, which, to be honest with you, is like right at the cusp for me for a good blood rush performance. It's got a critical multiplier of 1.9, which feels a little bad, but it's not terrible. The damage block is 85%, which is very, very nice. Maybe that's why the Wolf is so tanky, we don't know. Its status chance is 33%, and that is where this baby shines. It's got a good amount of slash in there, mixed in with impact and puncture. Now, impact does kind of outclass slash just by a little bit, but it's just a hair, so you'll still get a decent amount of slash procs from this. Now, in update 24.6.0, they added a 5 meter, 200 point explosion damage radial attack on recall. They increased the range from 1 meter to 1.5 meter, and let me tell you, it needed it. They increased the melee damage from 115 to 130. They increased the throwing projectile damage from 575 to 650. They reduced the collision width of the thrown projectile from 0.06 to 0.02, and trust me, that helped this weapon out so much because it was colliding with things you didn't even think it could collide with. And they increased the speed of the throwing animations. Definitely a big win for this weapon, and it feels so much better than before. Is it top tier though? It still remains to be seen. Okay, so as you can see, I wanted to go ahead and drop in a clip of me using this in a standard mission to highlight the tracking mechanic of this weapon's thrown portion. So if you didn't already know, you can throw the Wolf Sledge. Surprise, surprise. But the one thing that I noticed when I was throwing this weapon is that it wildly swang like left or right when it came to its throws, which was one of the craziest portions for me because I'm so used to like glaive weapons kind of like just bouncing and ricocheting, whether it's short distances or not. However, this weapon's tracking, number one, isn't the greatest, and when it bounces off an enemy, I find that it like bounces, usually, at least for me, wildly to the right. So I tend to just go ahead and aim for an enemy that's a little bit more to the left and know that it'll kind of curve around that way for me. But just do be aware that the way that this weapon ricochets is definitely at a much wider angle than normal weapons, just in case you did want to go ahead and play off the fact that it could bounce. Now, for me, I found that the maximum bounces off of this was about 3. I haven't seen more than 3 personally. I usually get about 2 hits. If I get like a tight alleyway, usually I'll hit one, it'll ricochet, and it might hit another one and another one back. But beyond that, I haven't seen more. And also do be aware that none of the throwing mods, kind of like power throw or whirlwind, no bounce, no quick return, none of those currently work on this mod as of this date. Now in the future, they might add it in, but as it stands right now, we ain't got none of that. So don't ask me about it. Okay, so as you can see, we have spawned ourselves a bit of a Billy right here, and I actually want to go ahead and show you the way that this weapon functions without the thrown bits. I just want to give you the baseline of the way it performs. Now, as you can see, we do have a lot of status on here, and really what we're doing is we're relying on the slash procs to go off, and we're hoping that a bit of viral gets transferred on there at the same time so that we get that beautiful combo. However, as I said earlier, this does have some impact that is leading the pack when it comes to the IPS, so you might not get the combination you want, and this is really the way that at least I found it to be the most effective. I have used this with Corrosive before, and see, that's why I just spam the basic combos or any combos that don't throw you around, because you fall off the edge and then you lose the 6 seconds on your viral and it makes you sad. So as you can see, it's kind of just okay. We have to remind ourselves that this is a Mastery Rank 7 weapon, and it does perform at a Mastery Rank of 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause the AI real quick to show you the distance at which you can throw this. Now, it is a 40-meter range. However, because of the fact that there is such a thing as collision, sometimes it's collision with the ground, sometimes, I don't know, 37 meters. You know they're rounding up, right? So as long as I can hit this, you know it's probably about 40 meters. Now, don't get so excited. You have to remember the enemy is paused, and so he is getting stealth multipliers in him, and I just got a lucky slash proc on. But as you can see, the slash procs from this weapon, with a little Loki action, it can be pretty juicy. So I'm going to stand at 39 meters. There you go. So you can hit him at about 40 meters away. That's pretty sexy right there. Not that you're going to be hitting a lot of enemies from that range, but just in case you need to, just in case you need to snipe them with this weapon, you can go ahead and do that. And then the other function that I want to go ahead and show as well is, let's see if I can do this without fucking it up, is on recall. Oh, you can blast it on recall. So as you can see, you can blast it and it'll knock the enemies down. So if you've got a group of enemies that you just want to CC, you can go ahead and handle them that way. Now, without the pause being on, the throw is not all that powerful. Like I said earlier, as you can see, we only did like a teensy tiny bit of damage with that when the enemies are aware. But it is pretty hilarious being able to knock them around because it does have a good knockdown. It does have a good knockdown mechanic. It's a great way to do that. But I do quite enjoy this weapon being used on invisible frames, and I know, I already feel it in my bones, you're going to ask me why I'm not using this on Avara. It's because I don't really care about Navigator. I don't care about the whole Navigator thing, but I know that you guys are going to want to see it. So let's go ahead and just bust her out to close things off so that you guys can see exactly how it kind of functions along those lines. Stop shooting, Avara. She's a problem child, you see. This is why I don't like using her. So let's go ahead and grab a whole bunch of bombards. And then you guys can see exactly how this functions with that, because I know you like the juiciness. So, fuck it. Let's just go all the way. And let's toss on a little Navigator action. And then let's give it a toss. So as you can see, right here, we have some beautiful Wolf Sledge magic. But the tracking on it is not amazing. It's not as amazing as, let's say, something like the Glaive, because like I was saying earlier, this does have a pretty wild swing on its tracking. So just be aware of that. It's not as good as I like for it, because you know with the Glaive, like legitimately, it's got such good tracking that it will literally just turn you right at the next enemy you need to turn to. But I find that the Wolf Sledge definitely is a little bit wilder, but I have to admit, I like knocking enemies down with it. That's still a hilarious moment. So with this, you'll actually notice that you legitimately are just kind of flashed off in a completely different direction. But with the Glaive, usually you'll kind of be bounced off to something a little bit more local. But this one, you're just randomly flailing about. So for those of you guys who are fans out there of Avara and her Navigator, this is something that you can definitely go ahead and use with that. It would make me sick, to be honest with you, because of the fact that it redirects you so much. And it kind of redirects you in weird directions too, I feel personally. I think we're done. Did we get them all? Are they all dead? Are you all dead now? I'm going to assume that they're all dead. So let's go ahead and kill that. And we'll call that a wrap on our little troublemaker, Miss Avara. So let's grab Loki again. And then let's go ahead and take a look at that build for the Wolf Sledge. So this is what I'm currently running with it. Should be no surprise with you. It's a like half and half status and crit build. So as you can see, we've got Condition Overload as well as Blood Rush. We've also got some Viral on there to kind of help with the slash procs that we've got. And then the star of the show, the Amalgam Organ Shatter, which does increase the charge attack speed. You only sacrifice 5%. So for me, I'm not feeling too bad about using that. I do like Prime Fury on there, but you know what? Feel free to alter this build as you wish. Go ahead and toss maybe a primed reach on there if you want to change up the stance, because I know y'all get really petty with some of your stance recommendations, but that is basically it for my stance on the Wolf Sledge. I think it is a bit of fun, and I've been using it here and there. Is it going to be like the endgame go-to weapon? Not so much for me, but it is quite entertaining to use. So now, Future Rob jumping in here real quick because I can feel the internet making comments, and I'm like, oh god. So why don't you try out a status build, was what was ringing through my ears when I went ahead and took a shower and did all of my skincare after I recorded all of the clips from the previous videos. And as you can see right here, I am using Buzzkill with Weeping Wounds, and I just don't feel like it's much to talk about, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Like, you might get lucky with a couple good crits and headshots, but for me personally, I just don't feel like it performs all that well. So that was like 43 hits, and I'm just not really all that, you know, impressed by it. Not that I was all that impressed by, you know, this weapon, period. So I just wanted to go ahead and throw that out to you guys, and we'll take a look at the build in a second. For me personally, and the thing is, this what do you call this? This status chance on this, I mean, the combo multiplier on this kind of carried through, so we're actually at a 2.5. We're at a 2.5 combo counter. So with Weeping Wounds, that would have pushed it past like 100. And I know that there are some people like, well, give it a shot. I gave it a shot. This is the build that I'm currently using it on it right now. Maybe drop Weeping Wounds and toss in something like a Relentless Combo or something along those lines. I don't know, but me personally, this variation wasn't all that exciting or enthralling to me. Just in case the internet was trying to come for me today, okay? That's my personal opinion, but if you like it, you use it. Anyway, I'm gonna go pass it back to Past Rob. Boop! Let's see if we can get a couple ricochets. Got a couple decent ricochets off of that. Let's see. No? No? We've got it coming back, which is always a great way. And you can feel like the ghetto version of Thor with his Mjolnir. So that's gonna do it for me before all of these bombards go ahead and turn on me and say, you know, just Thanatos snapped me out of existence. Sorry for the spoiler, but you really should have watched Infinity War by now. Regardless, that about does it for me for now. I hope that you guys found this informative or had a bit of fun with it. Let me know your feelings on these Wolf Sledge down below. Maybe potential ways for the wolf to come back and for him to still drop stuff. Go ahead and toss all of that down below. Or what you're hoping to see at the end of this Nightwave. Will the wolf become a good guy? Will we cheer for the wolf? I don't know. I'm on pins and needles with it, to be completely honest with you. But that does about do it for me for now. Leave all of your feelings down in the comments below. And as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.